Hey, True Believers, Englentine here, and it is the end of the year, actually the beginning of the next one. So here are the top 10 independent comic books of 2019. Now, some people say, well, you know, it's just my opinion, and I could only read, and this part is true. I could only review and talk about the ones that I've read. However, this isn't just my opinion. These are absolutely the top 10 greatest independent comic books of 2019. Number 10. Strange Skies Over East Berlin. This was a last-minute pickup for me. It was like, okay, I know it's going to be a Cold War story, kind of like, I forget what the book is called, but it they made Atomic Blonde out of it. You know, I'm thinking it's going to be a spy thing. Had no idea about what it was really about. So this guy, he's an American spy. He's on the other side of the Berlin Wall during the Cold War. And he's fed up with it, seriously. And as he's about to give it all up, he discovers that the Russians actually have an alien, and they're trying to use it as a weapon. So I'm not going to give him any more than that, because trust me, this is something that you really want to take the ride on. It is very intriguing, spy kind of comic book. I'm telling you something, man. I love this. I loved it. Definitely deserves a spot on the list. Number 9. Excellence. Now, at first glance, this is kind of like Harry Potter, but in all honesty, it's so much more. It's a story about fathers and sons, about wanting to make your father proud. In this case, you have a kid whose dad kind of gloms onto another guy because he's doing his magic a little bit quicker than the protagonist, but the protagonist becomes angry about this. So when he does get his wizarding skills, he lashes out. And that's why I think personally the logical conclusion to this story would to be having the I forgot the guy's name, but to have the protagonist become the villain. In all honesty, that just seems to be where they're going. I don't know where they're going, but in all honesty, I'm going to enjoy the ride getting there. Number 8. Archie 1955. It's good. Not as good as 1941, but it still captures at least what I think of when I think of 1955, and I'm pretty sure, you know, Mark Waid's doing the same thing. We've not lived there, so you can't capture it perfectly. But this is a biopic put to paper. It is following the name the biopic. It's following everything, you know. Small town guy gets a little bit of fame. They ask him, let's leave the other yokels behind, even though they're in your band and all that kind of stuff. And it's just about the trajectory and all the troubles that come with this instant fame, both at home and, of course, while you're dealing with it. Like I said, it's Archie Andrews, the biopic, or at least the biopic of Archie's put to comic book form. It is thoroughly entertaining. Highly recommend this. Number 7. Assassination. Dude, it's amazing when you hear about somebody and you see their work. It's so freaking horrible. Like Erica Henderson's the artist on this book, and it's like, wow, look what she's doing over at Squirrel Girl. Then you come here and she can actually draw, and it's a lot of fun. It's like, wait a second, what's going on here? And the book itself is written by the dude who does Rick and Morty. His name's Kyle Starks. This is a funny freaking book. It's all about the #1 greatest hitman of all the world hires the 20 next best hitmen to be his bodyguards, and that goes about as well as planned. You know, there's a lot of shootouts, a lot of killings they drop and all that kind of stuff. But man, this is one fun book. Seriously, if you are a bit older, I would recommend this for the older crowd, and you'd want to try something you haven't seen in a while, get this book. You're gonna be satisfied. Number 6. Die. Now, this, I understand, is going to be on a lot of people's top 10 independent comic book lists, or even top 10 comics of the year lists. And I get that. It's really good. It's been described as Dungeons and Dragons meet Jumanji, as you've got these kids, they get sucked into the game, and all but one make it out. Well, when they're adults, when they're basically my age, the kid comes out and he drags them back into the game, and it's how they deal with it. I mean, your adult mindset might not be able to take the fantasy elements as you could as a kid, But then again, you know, you're also looking at people who are more rational and aren't prone to fear as much. So it's really such a great and mature take on that particular story. You should check this out for yourself if you haven't already. Number 5. Everything is kind of like the artist and writer said, you know what? I could do Stranger Things. But you know what? Let's match Stranger Things with Needful Things, shove them together, and see what sticks. See if we can make this story go in the direction we want to. It's bizarre. It's sometimes scary. There's a feeling of dread coming over you. But let me tell you something. You have seen this story before. I'm not saying it's an original one. I'm just saying it's a good one, because it also has a bit of a Something Wicked This Way Comes vibe to it. I love this book, and I'm very happy I picked it up. And if they want to continue, I'm in. Number 4. Middle West. This is one that I've been praising all year. I think everybody should be reading it. It's a lot of fun. It's poignant. It's it's full of drama. It comes off as Scotty Young is trying to write his own version of Wizard of Oz, and you can kind of see that in some of the imagery. You get this kid, he's been beaten, he's abused, and that kind of made me wonder if it was all in his head, kind of like Wizard of Oz. Is this his way of dealing with it in some way, shape, or form? But overall, it's an amazing fantasy story. This is one of those kind of shows or kind of book where if they said, hey, you know what, we think we're going to make a Netflix show out of it, I think I would be on board. Of course, I would really hope they'd get the right creative team, because in the book, damn straight, they really do have the right creative team. Number 3, Once and Future. So this is a book that was in danger of being buried by its premise. You have the Arthurian legend is kind of dark fantasy. You have a family that control the sword Excalibur, and they've always been monster hunters. Things from an Arthurian legend are brought back. It's a great premise that, like I said, it could have been done so poorly, but thankfully the writing is dead on. The dialogue between the grandson and the grandmother are spot on, and this is just one really cool adventure story. I'm very happy I had a chance to check this out, and I recommend you check it out also if you haven't already. Number 2, Something is Killing the Children. Now, this one got me right away, man. When I read that first issue, I was like, okay, let's bring it on. Bring on that second issue. All right, because you had a whole bunch of kids go into a forest. They get attacked by monsters. Only one of them makes it out. Now, this one kid, everybody's saying, killed the others. And there's a lot of controversy around the town. It is an exciting book, and then I hit issue number 2, and it stops dead. And I was like, oh, no. Oh, don't tell me it's a one-off. But no, thankfully, that wasn't the case, because by the next issue, they were just taking some downtime to learn about the town, learn about the characters and so forth. And by the next issue, it was all back to business. And I liked it because the first issue, there was action and there was horror, and we were learning about the characters as well through that. And I think that's when comic books are at their best. Something is Killing the Children is one of those books that has so far kept me on edge, and I cannot wait to see what happens next. And the number 1 independent comic book from 2019 is Canto. So you've got these creatures, and they've been enslaved so long, their hearts have actually turned to clocks. Well, at one point, one of the slavers actually damages the clock of a little girl beyond repair. So Canto actually goes in search of her real heart, and it's an adventure story. He's braving all sorts of dangers to bring it back. And this kind of reminds me, because you have this charming little hero meeting all these different creatures and bringing them on this adventure. It kind of reminds me of Bone. And if you've ever heard me rant and rave about Bone, you understand that just by saying that is telling you how much I really, really enjoy this comic book. One of the best of the year, not just of independent comics, but just one of the best comic books produced in 2019. So there you go, gang, the absolute greatest independent comic books of 2019. What do you think? Am I right? Am I wrong? Let me know in the comments below with what you think your top 10 independent comic books of 2019 are. I'd love to hear it. What was right, what was wrong. Hey, I may have had something on my list that you would say it's good, but not number one. It's good, but you should have it higher on the list. Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to click like, click share, subscribe, ring that notification bell. And if you haven't done it already, go on over to Patreon or to Ko-Fi and drop $1 in the tip jar. Help this channel out, because YouTube sure isn't. Also, if you want, you could even you commission a video. Just go to Ko-Fi, pick out subject, topic, whatever, and we'll get it out to you ASAP. Like, thank everybody who's already done that, and to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.